Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of my projects, which is a Morse code project. For you younger guys, you may not even know what Morse code is, but basically it's the dits and the dars that you hear on old movies when people are sending radio signals. It's a very simple way of encoding text, very basic text, into a series of pulses, ones and zeros basically, which can be transmitted over vast distances. It's been around since about 1830, I think, when it was first invented. It was first used for like telegraph lines across America, even before radio was invented. It was very hard to send. It wasn't possible to send like speech or anything like that. They just could send a 0 and a 1, and so Morse code was invented, and again it was then used in radio, and it's still used today by ham radios. It's a more reliable transport mechanism for text. Generally, if you're trying to send a signal a long way, you get lots of interference, and by using something like a Morse code encoding, it means that you can get the signal further. Even with noise and interference, the signal can still get through. So anyway, it's a bit of fun, just bringing an old technology a little bit more up to date. So with that, let's switch over to my project. So here we go. So again, I've just been playing with the Arduino, and I'm creating these videos basically to share what I'm learning with you guys as I'm going through. As I say, I'm typically used to using much more complex and powerful microcontrollers and even computers than this. So it's quite interesting to see what you can do with a very limited, well, I'd say the Arduino Nano actually isn't a limited device. I'm going to be playing around with some very limited microcontrollers a little bit later. When you're talking about 1K of RAM and like 4 pins, then you have to start thinking out of the box to make something that low power useful. But the Nano is actually a pretty powerful beast. If you're interested, it's more powerful than the computers that flew in the space shuttle. The space shuttle had much less memory. So the Arduino Nano is, which you can now buy for like $3, is more powerful than the space shuttle computer. It's actually interesting due to logistics. Getting a component certified for space operation takes years. I think you're looking at about 10 years approval analysis to get a part approved for use in a spacecraft, which is interesting. They had a workaround, which is they would carry laptops. By carrying a laptop wasn't part of the spacecraft, and had to go through a far less rigorous process for approval. So it is actually interesting. Sometimes if you go back and look at some of the videos of them walking to the space shuttle, sometimes you can see like laptops being loaded into the spacecraft. Anyway, bit of a side there. So anyway, so this is now my Morse code project. It's very simple for you to use it. We just create, let me go to the INO. So basically you create an instance of the class. It can drive either or both an LED or a tonal buzzer. It's a buzzer basically that you can change the frequency on. You'll hear it. You get very annoyed with it very quickly. I may come back at a later point and add in some better audio. But anyway, Then when you want to initialize it, you basically pass in the begin function with the pin number for the LED or the pin number for the speaker. If you don't want to use the speaker, you can just set this to a -1 and it will be ignored. Then there's two other properties you can set. They're set to default, so you don't need to even set them here. But you can set the speed, which is the time period in milliseconds of the dit. Dit is the small dit, dar is the longer pulse in Morse code. So there's dits and dars, or dots and dars, depending on what you want to say. But it's like dit, 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 dar, dar, dar is like typical. So the speed is the time period of the smallest dit. Now in Morse code, the time period is all of the timing of Morse code is based on that dit. So a dar is 3 times the length of the dot, or a dar. A word break is 3 periods of the dit, but as blank, 0, 0, 0. So there is a gap in the transmission of 3 dits. That by definition means you have to have finished sending the word. Or sorry, you have to finish sending the character. Then there is a word break. Okay, but they're all relative to the time period of the dit. So if we just set that, if you look in the code, you can see it calculates all of the spacing based on this single value. The other value is the tone, which is basically a frequency in hertz, which the buzzer speaker can use when it's sending the signal. So you can adjust this to make it look or sound like the movies, where it goes dit 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 da 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 dit dit dit. Okay, so that's a bit of fun. Then to use it, basically you just create a chart array of whatever you want to send. Now be aware that Morse code doesn't support all of the ASCII character sets. It is very limited primarily to text and numbers. There's a few characters, but in practice it's text and numbers, and there is no such thing as uppercase or lowercase in Morse code. It's purely letters. So you can type in world, and the send function basically causes this message, or whatever you typed here, to be sent in Morse code. If you have a friend that does ham radio, you can actually do this, record the Morse code, the dits and the dars, if you're using the speaker, and see if they can decode your message. So anyway, with that, I'm going to switch over and I'll show you the system working. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave the video there. I hope that's been a bit of fun. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. And again, if you want information on the project or the source code, check out the link below, which will take you to my website, where you can download and see a bit more information about the project. Thank you for watching and have a great day.